everyone, this is Michelle Kane with Michelle Kane Actions, and today we're going to go through this image here, the entire edit from start to finish, and I'm going to show you how we've implemented a variety of actions from my sets. So we're going to be talking about the Creative Heart, Heart and Soul, Botanical Blends, and Half-Light actions. And I always find myself combining actions from all of the different sets into one edit for the perfect final touch. So with this image here, you can see that we've played Sumptuous Smolder, Chroma, Bamboo, Matte Overlay, Tryst, Winsome, and Sun-Kissed Skin. And that's going to give us this final image here. So let's look at the original. Here's the original straight out of camera. And you can see in the original there wasn't a sky that was fabulous and warm and full of pink clouds that day. It was actually shot in the middle of the day here. And so we're going to insert a sky overlay. And this sky overlay that I'm using is from Kansas Skies. And you can learn more about those sky overlays at kansaspits.com. And I'm going to put a link below the video here so you can learn more about those. I won't be going through selecting the image and placing the sky in perfectly and all of that information, because if you do purchase the skies, you have access to videos from Kansas Pits Photography that will show you exactly how to make a great selection and place the sky in where you want it. So before I did place the sky in, I played another action, which is usually, if you've watched my videos before, you'll know that I start a lot of my images with Bland to Brilliant. And with Bland to Brilliant, I played that at 80% opacity, and I turned on the darken layer inside of there. It's normally defaulted off. I find that most people shoot darker, and so we default that off. If you need to brighten it up, there's a brighten layer. If you need to darken it, there's a darken layer. So Bland to Brilliant 80% gives it just that little bit of extra pop and clarity and kind of gets us going in the right direction. And then from there, I played an action from the Heart and Soul called Merge It so that I have an actual pixel layer to work on. I made my selection with the quick selection tool. I jumped it to its own layer, and that's right up here. And again, you'll learn more about how to make the selections and place the skies in as you get the Kansas Sky overlays. And then I placed in the actual sky. Now, let me move on to this image. This is the sky that I placed in the picture, so it's a nice panoramic. It fits right into the top of the image. And focusing on where this bright spot here is in the picture, that's where I kind of placed it at the center of the subject. And you can see the sky is brightened up right in here, and I'll kind of explain that a little bit to you here in just a moment. So going back to this original image, you can see that on the sky layer I've added a layer mask here. And what I've done is basically just taken a black brush and kind of brushed out a little bit of this extra sky here so it lightens the area up right where she's at, so that the intensity of the sky doesn't come down and meet her perfectly. It kind of fades away and the sky isn't so dramatic, I guess, right up against the subject. So once I have this done, we can move on with the full edit here. So what you're looking at here is the complete edit. And let's take it back to where just the sky is placed into the picture. So this is our starting point. And what we're going to play first would be Sumptuous Smolder to deepen and darken things. And we're going to richen up some of the color and then tone the picture from there. So what I'll do is I'll just delete these layers here and we'll start fresh. So once the sky is placed into the picture, we're going to play Sumptuous Smolder. And I get asked this all the time, what am I using to pull up my actions? And it's Action Fire by Polished Picture. If you Google Polished Picture, you'll be able to purchase this nice little script that will pull up your actions by name. I just type them in very quickly and it pulls up exactly what I'm looking for and plays it. I think it's super, it helps with my speed of my workflow, and I love this script. So playing Sumptuous Smolder. Once it finishes playing, what I want to do is go ahead and take the entire thing up to about 80%. And I'm going to open up the Sumptuous Smolder action group, and I'm going to turn off the less smolder layer so it really deepens and darkens things up quite a bit. And then I'll close it back down. And what we're going to do is just go ahead and start to slightly remove this with a low opacity black brush, just using that layer mask. So I'm just removing it at about 20% opacity, building up my brush strokes, just kind of giving a little bit of lightness to where I have my subject here. And it darkens things up quite a lot, so I just need to make sure that she doesn't get overly dark. And again, these low opacity brushes work really well. So the thing about the way that I edit and the way that I run and build my actions, they build nicely right up on top of one another, so I'm not constantly flattening as I go. And that way, if I want to come back to this sumptuous smolder layer later, I can certainly do that. I'm not having it flattened and unavailable. It's always going to be available to me. So that gives me a nice, deep, rich, and soft kind of effect. It makes it feel very creamy and a rich beginning to the picture. So the next thing I want to do is play an action called Chroma. This is from the Half Light set. And Chroma is going to play right on top of Sumptuous Smolder. And with a white brush, I'm just going to slowly kind of brush this in. And if you're not familiar with layer masks, I suggest that you learn more about them. All of my actions pretty much are intended to be used with layer masks. So you can paint your effects in and out where you want them. So if you look at the mask here where it's white, that's where we painted it in. If I click it on and off, you're going to see the richness that came into the picture. If I decide it's too rich in one place, I'll just switch my color of my brush here from white to black, and then I'll paint with the black brush and kind of remove some of that chroma out of there. So chroma just gives me a little bit of richness. If I wanted an ultra rich sky, of course I could come up here and paint in the sky area as well, but I feel like it's plenty rich as it is so far. After chroma, I want to move on and play bamboo. And the reason I picked bamboo is because it has a very creamy yellow golden tone to it. And bamboo is from the Botanical Blend set. And once bamboo plays, there are tons of layers inside of bamboo that you can adjust and customize this action out however fits your picture. But what I want to do is take this level down, this opacity down to about 45%. And as I click it on and off, you can see just kind of the golden softness that it gives the picture. It makes it feel like it was shot, at night as the sun is going down. You have that golden, wonderful, stormy kind of light that you get when you're going to have a beautiful clouds and beautiful stormy sky. So bamboo, I pretty much want on the top of the picture. So again, taking this layer mask and about a 30% opacity black brush, I'm just going to remove it a little bit off the bottom because the golden light's really hitting the top of those flowers in the top of the field. So just removing it from the bottom here, you can see again in the layer mask how it translates to where bamboo was added in the picture. Moving forward, I want to go ahead and play an action that's going to give just kind of a pull down of the blacks and the shadows in the picture. So matte overlay, and this is from the Heart and Soul collection. And I'll hit continue here, and then let's click this on and off so you can see the effect of matte overlay. Again, it takes those deep dark shadows and kind of takes them down and mattifies the entire picture. And what I really like it on is everything but pretty much her in the middle. So I just want to slightly, with a very low opacity, 20% opacity brush, just kind of remove some of this matte overlay off of her very lightly, just sweeping it across with my brush. So it kind of keeps the tops of the flowers in her very sharp and then lets the bottom half be very matte. So you can see again with my layer mask where it's been painted in, and the black parts is where it's been painted out. Moving from there, I need to add a little bit more warmth to this picture because it's such a reddish pinkish sky up here. It would be putting forth some red pink tones onto the ground, onto the subject. So I need to add those pink tones into the picture, and the action that I really liked for that was Tryst, and that's from the Half Light collection. And when Tryst plays, let's turn this on and off. It's defaulting at 80% opacity, and I like that pretty much everywhere. But I want to go ahead and just remove a tiny little bit right across the center, again with my black brush and the layer mask, just so she doesn't get too pinkish in tone. I like the tones that it's done everywhere else in the picture. And we're going to make it a little bit richer and a little bit warmer, and we're going to use Winsome, again from the Half-Light collection. And Winsome, when it plays, will default to 70%. Let's turn this on and off. You can see again, it just gives that very silky, creamy sort of feel to the picture. When the blacks are taken down in the image, it gives that creaminess. And again, I pretty much am going to be painting just like I did with Trist. So you can actually just Option or Alt click on a layer mask that you painted on and drag it right on top of another layer mask. And basically it copies the same painting, so you don't have to do it all over again. So now I have the same painting. I can continue to paint a little bit more of this off if I choose. Maybe I'll take just a tiny bit of this off the very bottoms here on Trist, and maybe a tiny bit on Winsome. So I'm just going back and forth between painting in and out Trist and Winsome. And I think I'll come back to my matte overlay layer here. Again, it's the beauty of not flattening your layers, as you can come back to them. And I'll just add in a little bit more of this matte overlay right over the top of her clothing here. All right, and the very last thing I want to do here is just add in kind of this spotlight of just soft, golden, creamy light, like it's coming down from the heavens and touching her. And the action that I like for that is Sun-Kissed Skin, and that's in the Heart and Soul set. And when this plays out, we're going to paint it in kind of just over the very top of the grass. Let's just invert this layer mask just for funsies to show you. If I played that everywhere at 100%, this is what it's going to look like on the picture. Very intense, but again, it's sun-kissed skin. It's very soft and dreamy, but we're just going to create that in a very small amount right along the tops of these flowers. So it feels, again, like the sun is just coming through those pink clouds and hitting just the tops of the grass here. I'll play it just over the very top of her. And I go back and forth with my color of my brush, swapping it with the X key on the keyboard so that I can just kind of paint these effects in and out as needed. Okay, so once I have that, then I can come back to any of the layers in my layers palette now that I have not flattened, and say we want to just take off the Sumptuous Smolder. If we'd never done Sumptuous Smolder, here's what we would have in this picture. It would be this brighter, more airy kind of image, and with Sumptuous Smolder, we've created more of a rich, intense kind of color. So maybe with Sumptuous Smolder, I want to remove a little bit of this off the sky. So I'll use my black brush and my layer mask here, and I'm just going to kind of take a little bit of this down off the sky, just to show you if you want the sky less intense, there's a look for you there. And if you decide, you know what, maybe I do want that back in, you've got all the layers and the ability to bring it back into the picture just by the use of the layer mask. Chroma, let's go ahead and click this on and off. You can see a little bit of change here in the flowers and in her clothing a little bit. It's just a slight little change. Bamboo, you can see now what bamboo is. I clicked that on and off. It just kind of gave a soft golden sort of tone to the image. And matte overlay, if we didn't have that on there, how it changes the effect of the picture. Trist, that's where all that warmth came in from, that golden light, that rich, warm, pretty light. Winsome, again, more of that matte kind of feel to the picture, very soft. It's got a little warmth in there as well. And Sun-Kissed Skin, without the Sun-Kissed Skin, and with, without and with. You can see it really highlights the subject in the middle when it's on. Just a little bit of painted on specialty lighting there. So in a few steps, just a combination of actions again from all of my collections. We've gone from basically this image to this edit here. Very, very simple, just use of layer masks and painting effects in and out where needed. For more information on these and other Michelle Kane actions, you can visit my website, michellecanephotography.com. And again, the sky overlay is from Kansas Skies. KansasPit.com is what you'll want to visit for more information on those. Thanks for watching, everyone, and I hope you have a blessed day.